radiofreefargo.org. Canna Talk ND with Wilson. We're here to change the law, not break the law. So at 420, we're going to have, I'm trying to come up with a new slogan, like wow, like the week of weed or week on weed, because certainly each week now I've got plenty to talk about for 20 minutes, certainly this show, and it's, I didn't borrow from the last week, and I'm not making up for the next week. So I'm sitting in a pocket here where my gift of gab and the readability of cannabis news is just coming at me. We got a lot going on in every arena. We got fun stuff going on. Willie Nelson's in the news. We've got not so good things going. Nebraska, I think, gets the Swag Bag Award this week, and I just started that today. So Christy Don't Know Him was on the short end of mine for a while. But, they're going to be voting on two measures, and it looks like signatures the required to get it on is kind of an indicator of how well that's going to be, because they pulled the signatures out right away. They had the cash to get the signatures. So, I have high hopes for South Dakota and swag bag hopes. Like right now, there's a lot of seeds in Nebraska's bag here when it comes to legalization. And I was just thinking if, recently you got talked into Bitcoin or a cryptocurrency that had like a funny name, but the guy telling you it was, the Red Bull was just hitting just right. Now you kick down your 401k and you put it into Cat Coin, the Doge's coin's little brother. And then it didn't work as easily as you thought. And so you got in some struggle, and it's starting to get into your head, maybe too much in your head. That's why there's a mobile mental health crisis response number, 1-800-233-4512, if you got the crypto blues, because I know investing in money can really get up in your head, especially when, you need money, so you went into a different venture that might provide you some capital. And man, Bitcoin is a crazy thing, but it's viable. So I was just a poor example of, needing a mental health thing. But I guarantee you, though, that if you're sitting on the couch just playing around on the computer telling your roommate you'll have the rent as soon as the Bitcoin hits, that might not happen. And the New Life Center helps people who are homeless and hurting go from merely surviving to truly thriving. Their aim is to help people in need discover value and find hope. The New Life Center has evolved into a multifaceted emergency and crisis service center. To learn more about NLC, visit their website at www.fargonlc.org or give them a call at 701-235-4453. Radio Free Fargo, 95.9 in beautiful Fargo, North Dakota. And the chill's in the air. There's frost on the pumpkin. I'm not going to lie to you at all, but we need to get into this first song. So we got Cyril Neville. He's going to go ahead and get us going. It's pretty much the weekend, right? Let's call it the weekend. Here it comes. And that's how you wrap that up. Working man Cyril Neville, one of the 75 Neville brothers. Magic Honey's the album, 2013. Great cover by Rush. You got to love it. It's Thursday. Working man, you're welcome. Canna Talk ND with Wilson here at Radio Free Fargo. You can stream at radiofree.org. We're here to talk to you about cannabis and how it should be legalized. And so I'm here to re-educate for the masses to go back to where we were, not get hung up by Harry Anslinger's lies, and let's get back on track because we need cash anyway. And so nothing beats that. Canna Talk ND with Wilson on all the social platforms. Canna Heads is my young Pilko, the tech guy. He comes out Sunday night on the same channel, and he goes into more in-depth. I just hit you every week with like a 1-2 puncheroo just to get you going. I point you in the right direction. I leave a lot of that up to you. Deep dive is not stuff you're going to hear me say ever again. I'm not deep diving into anywhere. I just want you guys to educate yourself on cannabis and legalization and home grow and the measures in your area and how you can get involved. Because Indie for Freedom of Cannabis is also the Facebook page. There's more meme kind of a social interaction and education there as well. And again, every Thursday here at 420, and that's what I'm trying to come up with. Do I call it the Week of Weed, the Week in Weed? That don't make any sense. So, and again, cannabis is what we should be calling it, but, WIC, Week in Cannabis. I mean, this reminds people of being poor, I don't want to do that, really. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, you got any ideas? Shoot me out at the, on Facebook, whatever. Call me here. I probably won't answer. I got anxiety, but maybe I will. You never know. But anyway, Canna Talk ND on the socials. You want to hear something? You want to come on? You got a CBD farm? I'll smell the roses. No questions asked. Well, I'll have to ask a couple questions. I take that all back. But anyway, I was going to mention that Toots and the Maytals, I almost feel like Blues Fest. Like, I know they're reggae, but I feel like, I don't know, I feel like Toots and the Maytals was one of the acts, and it's a reggae band, and I just kind of wanted to, and we're going to play some songs here. Toots actually has an album out, but anyway, this was just 10 hours ago. Reggae singer Toots Hibbert in medically induced coma with COVID symptoms, and at the time they hadn't got a positive yet. They were awaiting, but he had all the symptoms. He's 78. He's in the Universal Hospital of the West Indies. His publicist, Claude Mills, said Toots was transferred there yesterday and is fighting for his life, and his family is asking for prayers. So I would encourage that as well. Keep him in your thoughts. Again, Toots and the Maytals, if you know anything about reggae, you know that it's a big deal. And he had just came out with an album. So, again, they say he may have contracted coronavirus. Revelations on Monday say that the singer was awaiting results, but he was showing all the signs. Members of the artiste inner circle have self-quarantined and have taken COVID-19 tests as well. Toots is one of the most toured artists out of Jamaica and is known for his hour-long sets on stages across the globe. Toots is a 3-time winner of the Jamaica Song Competition. He's just been around. So let's see. I remember the landmark album Funky Kingston. So let's keep that in our thoughts. And I'm going to play something. I'm going to play something now that's a cover. And then after I talk to you guys about the wacky world of weed this week, I'll play out a new Toots and the Maytals. But here we go. Here's Take Me Home, Country Roads, Get Better. And there you have it. Alphabet Street, Leo Kottke, Mike Gordon. That's up their new Noon album. And it's, I don't know what you're into, but, and I don't know how you rate your albums, but it's a pretty good one. And Leo Kottke, man, he's got the fingers. He's a great dude. Anyway, shout out to you guys for tuning in. Canna Talk ND with Wilson. That's what we're getting ready to get into. The Week in Cannabis, otherwise known as WIC program. I'm going to work on it. But wow, the Week of Weed. And normally I would be following the local legislation, but there isn't anything currently in the state of North Dakota as we go into the legislative season. So I'll be keeping an eye on all the other states. And then we've got the MORE Act coming. So why don't we just get into this show? We'll see you on the other side. Hey, we're going to get right in and out here, because that's what we do here. Canna Talk ND with Wilson on Radio Free Fargo. Stream it on radiofreefargo.org. We're going to talk about cannabis, and we're going to educate you on the benefits. And we're going to talk about, just kind of the momentum that's been happening here nationwide. I mean, again, the MORE Act, they started saying stuff like unprecedented, a record floor vote, and I don't know what all that means, because I kept thinking it went through the stupid House, but there must have been all them weird committees. In my opinion, they use them just to slow down the reality, micromanage it into the ground, and especially with vets and their access, Committee for Compassionate Care, you got Vets for Disabled, Access for Disabled Veterans, so you can get involved in the state. But as far as I know, there isn't anything currently rocking in the state of North Dakota. I thought there was, and there still might be. And so if there is a current signature drive actively being pursued, it would be over at Tochi Products, as well as Terp Candy. Shout out Terp Candy. And I also wanted to say the aquarium downtown seems to be I don't know if they got full shows, but they're booking them. So it seems like they're slowly starting to get some stuff happening downtown Fargo. So, maybe just like them on Facebook so you can see what's going on. But looks to me like the aquarium is about ready to start blowing shows out again upstairs. So shout out aquarium, shout out Jay. But anyway, let's talk about Nebraska. Nebraska. It's almost like Nebraska 1865 over there. Now I know it's like in the Midwest, and so, it makes sense, but not really, because South Dakota, they just seem like, they'd get you for consumption. You could do something in a legal state, they'd have you, go in a cup. And then if you showed positive results from doing it in another state, they could get, they can put you in jail for it. And again, I know because it happened to me, so they call it consumption of a toxic substance, which in a lot of states, we all know that it isn't. And in 33 states, medical of some sort has been implemented. So think about that. What is a state that goes, we still think it's horrible? And Nebraska governor declares there's no such thing as medical marijuana. And he quoted Nebraska Governor Pete Ricketts, I don't think a guy with the name Ricketts should be discussing anything medicinal or nutritional. Am I right? Hey, you. I mean, if your middle name's Scurvy, you're going to tell me about the food program? I'm not sure. Now, again, I am no doctor or lawyer. I'm just a guy who's been clean for, about 28 years of speed and booze. So I'm just happy to be alive. So you ain't going to get me to, I don't know. It's more like I'm just trying to make the world a better place. I got nothing to hide, and I don't have anything to really do but to tell you that cannabis got the short end of the stick. We should have been messing with cannabis instead of cutting all the trees down. But that's just me, More smoking and less fracking. Although smoking is, across the board, not the best way to ingest your cannabis. And if you've got medical cards here in North Dakota, I'm talking to you. And if you're listening to RadioFreeFargo.org online in, Czechoslovakia, yo. Okay, so let's get in this. Governor Pete Ricketts has made it abundantly clear that he wants the Cornhusker state to say no to medical pot. And that's crazy. Again, when you've got the word Ricketts, Cornhusker, and medical pot, one of those things don't belong. You know what I'm saying? So it's never really good. If you get busted in a state like this and you're reading like a newspaper right before you got busted at a motel and you're thinking, man, Nebraska is backwoods. I'm glad I'm getting out of here. Woo, woo. You get pulled over. You're like, oh no, I'm in a Cornhusker state with medical pot. And Nebraska, yeah, it's just further south. I figured it would be, I'm surprised. And so I want to give maybe, I remember back in the day, Fargo Forum would do the leafy spurge and the rose for whoever they decided was good or bad. And so this week, and maybe I can get some sound effects too, because I got some things that I could use to make sound. But the Swag Bag Award goes to Governor Pete Ricketts in Nebraska. There is a lot of seeds and stems in this state. And I would normally have said, well, just go around South Dakota, then go in through Nebraska. But as long as Governor Pete Ricketts and his side partner, Scurvy McGee, Cornhusker State is not a great place to try to get to another place if you use medical cannabis. All right. So that was his quote. He said in a press conference last week, there's no such thing as medical marijuana. He's also quoted to say, this is not something that would be prescribed by a doctor. It is not going to be distributed through a pharmacy. These are dispensaries that would be in your community. This is not a benign thing. This is a dangerous thing. But he's right. His mindset, the way he thinks, is a dangerous thing. It's a horrible way to think. And we got to stop thinking like that. And of course, and I'm paraphrasing more, 33 other U.S. states, hundreds of peer-reviewed clinical research studies, and dozens of other countries disagree with Ricketts' offhand assessment. And I also happen to be that. In North Dakota, it's still one of the closed-minded, unable to see the forest for your greed. And if it ain't broke, let's keep, killing people. If a doctor ain't doing it, then it can't be right. We made progress. I mean, we've got a medical program. It's not great. It's overpriced. It's set up to fail, essentially. But we do have dispensaries, and you can get access. Hopefully this year, in the state of North Dakota, we can get a little more in some goofy pardon thing that just is kind of like something you say, look at me. It doesn't seem very effective. So, I'm not on the big... Anyway, let's keep reading here. The governor argued that people show up to work stoned in states where medical pot is legal, and that puts them at a greater risk for accidents on the job. Research studies shows that workplace fatalities have actually decreased by as much as 34%, and it just keeps going and going and going. Anti-legalization rhetoric is incomplete without an appeal to think about the children, and Ricketts heartily embraces this trope. We know, and he quoted, "We know that this is a huge impact on children. Their development, their cognitive development, their development in their brain is impacted when they have access to marijuana," he said. While it is true that some research suggests this, it is also true that underage pot has actually decreased in states where weed is legal. Governor Ricketts. Getting fired up about this guy. So Governor Scurvy has also taken his personal war on weed online, and he posted an article entitled "Marijuana is a Dangerous Drug" on his official website. So this guy is not a good dude, but it just seems like something that I'm kind of proud of North Dakota. Like, we don't have a Governor Ricketts anymore. I mean, we've got a Governor Cricket, all right, but, I mean, he's at least signing pardons, We the People, I don't know is in his middle name when it honestly comes to what would best serve the people of North Dakota, but I think you guys can go to bed feeling a little better about the state of North Dakota and the benefits and the open-mindedness of letting an alternative medicine, because that's the problem. We've been so brainwashed to think that the doctors know all. But what they've learned how to do was take all the money from you and give you as little as possible back. It was like they had the communications with the people they were exchanging money with, and they stopped including you and helping you get you the best, the best you can get. And so if the best you can get is what they were giving them to give to you to make the money, to make grease all the wheels, well, cannabis is a selfless drug. It has millions of benefits. So let's just keep that in mind, and we're just going to keep cruising because Nebraska gets one more leafy scourge. And anyway, 1,700 pounds of weed stolen in Nebraska. And that's the guy writing the article. But a traffic stop in Nebraska on Monday ended in chaos when 1,700 pounds of dried cannabis. And I'm looking at the picture, and it's not like, like Miguel from Crystal City, Texas, having it shoved into a gas can. This stuff has been professionally packed in a place that it was professionally allowed. And that's what really bugs me. Geographically, it came from a place that was accepted. They get hung up in a place like Nebraska where, I hate to say it, but these cops are preying on the easy. This is easy. And it's been ingrained in their heads to kind of go, oh, I smell something. Can we? It's horrible. And I don't like it. In Nebraska, you get the big fat seed and stem swag bag for this week. Get yourself together, Governor Ricketts. This isn't a bad thing. You're the danger. Your concepts of how this is 1922. Well, actually 1939. Come in here with your 1939 mindset, Governor Ricketts. Get with it, man. It's time to change. Don't be horrible. Okay, look at 33 other states. It's got medically acceptable programs by everybody. Illinois is making $1.7 million. They've sold 1.7 million products in July. Ignoring that as a revenue, that's a dangerous thing to think of. So this governor, I didn't even know governors were still thinking this wacky. Because I know that we're behind, but I know cannabis will be legalized everywhere at some point. I know this. because everywhere else. And then we can talk about that too. So let's now talk about stinking. I'm going to jump on marijuanamoment.net, and we're going to talk about this. So drone, I'm going to click on the article here. Marijuana Moment by Kyle Yeager. Drone drops hundreds of free bags of marijuana in Israel. Marijuana fell from the sky in Israel on Thursday with a drone dropping hundreds of small nickel bags in the shape of the Star of David. Just kidding. I could just imagine like a nickel bag's 5 points. Anyway, the stunt attracted dozens of people, including some brazen enough to collect the free products from the middle of the busy road as drivers honked at them. Excuse me. I just got to get some weed here on the street there. Excuse me. A group that goes by the name Green Drone apparently made the aerial delivery. Prior to the drop-off, the group posted on the encrypted app Telegram, "It's time, my dear brothers. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's the Green Drone, handing out free cannabis from the sky. Enjoy, my beloved brothers. This is your pilot, brother, making sure we all get some free love." Apparently, this isn't a one-off instance of marijuana philanthropy either. Green Drone plans to continue the reign of cannabis, in quotes, delivering 1 kilogram of marijuana broken out into 2-gram baggies every week. But the first drop-off didn't go without a snag, according to the Jerusalem Post. It's just awesome to say. According to the Jerusalem Post, half block from Bethlehem, 2 people suspected of operating a drone were arrested. Let's see, the blood of the Lamb Street. All right, I'm getting hung up. While Israel is an active player in the marijuana research scene, and that's the thing, the plant remains illegal, except for under limited medical circumstances. And Israel is known as the research place. So it's kind of ironic that it is illegal. But we're in this weird thing socially. You can drop off bags from a drone in, outside Jerusalem, where our baby Jesus was born. And it's really no big deal. But it's still illegal. And so that kind of messes with me a bit. So then what I want to do now is pull up this article. Mexican senator decorates desk with marijuana plant as legalization bills posed to advance. So it's another thing. Mexico has been, kind of like Israel. They're doing research, but I don't know. I think technically cannabis is legal in Mexico for some sort of they should have did something. And they kept pushing it. But it seems to me like even back in North Dakota when Measure 3 was happening, Mexico was doing some sort of thingy. And I know I'm using all the wrong words, I feel like I want to say a deep diving paper tiger. Arr. So anyway, let's talk about this. The Mexican Senator Senator Jesus Rodriguez of the ruling Morena Party displayed the plant on her desk before the chamber voted to elect members of a regulatory board. So, can you put a real plant there? But it's a real cannabis plant. But is it CBD? I don't know. But Rodriguez said in a tweet, priority issue in the Senate for this period. What I do want to tell you is that she says that the legislation on cannabis is a priority, and I say to her that yes, it is one of the group's priorities. Rodriguez's stunt wasn't the first time marijuana entered the Congress in Mexico. A lawmaker gave a key member of the president's cabinet a joint while speaking on the floor of the Chamber of Deputies last year. President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador recently said that the marijuana reform legislation will advance in the new session. Legalization bill was approved by several committees earlier this year, but the reform effort had been stalled due to COVID. The Supreme Court, which deemed the country's prohibition on personal possession and cultivation unconstitutional in 2018, that's right, and is currently giving lawmakers until December 15th to enact the policy change. So it's 2020. So there's, you know what I mean? So it's interesting to me that that's happening. So we've got Mexico bringing plants. We've got Israel dropping stinking bags in Israel, and it's really not a big deal. So it's like there's this surge that's happening, and it's really exciting because legalization and legislation is becoming begrudgingly, obviously Nebraska. Everybody has got to, realize it's not Nebraska. We have research being done in Israel. We have Mexican legislators bringing plants to the chamber as a priority reference symbol point of the necessity and the necessary need for a priority. And so that's just going to play right into my next thing here. Thanks, Kyle Yeager. This guy's, pretty insane. President Carter talks about his son smoking marijuana at the White House with Willie Nelson. All right, so everybody knows that Willie Nelson happened to be in the White House and that he, smoked an El Dubo on the roof. All right. Well, there's a documentary now with former President Jimmy Carter. He discussed the time his son, Chip Carter, smoked marijuana at the White House with musician Willie Nelson during his administration. So that piece of information wasn't available. Nobody knew that. All right. But Carter, apparently he talked about his relationship with the music industry in this documentary, including his friendship with artists like Nelson and Bob Dylan, who happen to live in the Gardner, where I live. I like to think it was my same apartment. So I like to say that, I touched the same knob as Bob. At one point, he mentions how Nelson, a cannabis culture icon, disclosed in a biography that he smoked marijuana during a trip to the White House. So Willie Nelson wrote his autobiography. He confessed that he smoked pot in the White House, and he said that his companion was one of the servants of the White House. So, man, I don't know, that sounds awfully racist to me. But maybe they're called White House public servants. I don't know. But it sounds really racist. But anyway, Carter said that it was one of my sons. So it was something so we'll keep reading and then I'll tell you my thought of it. In his 1988 book, Nelson describes sitting on the rooftop of White House in Washington, D.C. late at night with a beer in one hand and a fat Austin torpedo in the other. And it made me realize back in the 90s, too, that there was still wacky fun names for joints like a Zeppelin, a Hog, a fat Austin torpedo, whatever that means. But I think it was because the quality, the THC level was so low. And if you were going to community smoke, like 1 is the loneliest number that you've ever knew, 1 meant smoking a 1. And if you only were by yourself, then that was really a lonely number to have by yourself. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out, Fat Austin Torpedo, because I don't think there's names anymore. Now you just got the cones and, nobody's rolling like a hog leg. Man, if I had a nickel for every time I had a hog leg in the summer sunset in 1993 to 1997, boy, oh boy. So anyway, let me keep going. My companion on the roof was pointing out to me the sights and layouts of the street. This is Willie quoting. And he said he was being coy about who he was with. I let the weed cover me with a pleasing cloud. I guess the roof of the White House is the safest place to smoke dope. That, quote unquote, my hero, Willie Nelson. It was later revealed that the 1978 cannabis session on top of the executive mansion involved first son Chip Carter. So during his time in office, Carter spoke in favor of decriminalizing marijuana and replacing the criminal penalties, but he was not able to get that policy change enacted. So he tried. His son was smoking doobies on the roof. So, I mean, that should just tell you something. If there was all this violence, there just wasn't. If cannabis was so bad, I mean, even stuff that is bad, booze and tobacco kill people all the time. All the time. And some of the stuff that has alcohol in it, like oven cleaner and stuff, has really destroyed people's bodies. And it's still around. Liquor stores are still open. And smoking has been proven. But they were smoking joints in the White House, the president's son. So that's an acceptance. But it also shows the awareness of like the political bogging down of money and greed and what gets through. Watch the movie Wag the Dog with Dustin Hoffman. They pretended a war to push weapons. So why not? Say it was a servant. Don't say it was Chip. I still want to get elected. or I don't want to get kicked, or whatever. It was less like, this is a horrible thing. How dare you be doing this violent, inciting, racial outbreak that you would hear from like the Henry Anslinger. So just keep that in mind. And it was really kind of a cool story because Willie Nelson was like, well, I still want to tell people, right? Like, you still want to brag about it, but you don't want to get the president in trouble. So he's like, all right, I won't say anything, or I won't say who it is, but I'm definitely going to say that I did it. And Carter's like, well, I'm Jimmy Carter. But anyway, I just wanted to mention two things here before we wrap this beast up. I just wanted to say weed odor is no longer a justified reason for police to search cars in Virginia. There you go, Governor Ricketts Scurvy. Should kind of pick up where the Virginia Senate here left off and stop quoting stuff like medical cannabis is dangerous. You got no founding proof of that. But I've got tons and tons of proof that it is medically viable. So shut up, because you're not helping, and you're going to have to change your mind anyway. Chances are nobody's going to vote for you again. All right? It's not popular anymore, Governor Ricketts. Check this out. So the Virginia Senate just voted in favor of two relatively minor marijuana reform bills that could have a significant impact on state citizens' day-to-day lives, especially those in black and brown communities. And it's this. First Senate Bill 5029, introduced by Senator Louise Lucas, bless your heart, will prohibit cops from stopping a vehicle and conducting searches and or seizures solely based on officers' claims of detecting the smell of weed. Holler at your boy. The bill passed with a 21-15 vote, and as a result, cops will no longer be able to use the "it smells like pot" excuse to ruin people's lives and, by extension, devastate entire minority communities. I'm going to say that one more time. The bill passed with a 21-15 vote, and as a result, cops will no longer be able to use the "it smells like pot" excuse to ruin people's lives and, by extension, devastate entire minority communities. The second successful bill will reclassify possession of marijuana in a motor vehicle from a primary to a secondary offense. That means officers cannot use a summons if they find weed in your car. They have to charge you with a separate individual crime first. That said, such crimes can and often do include nonsense like driving with tinted windows or having a poorly lit rear license plate. But how awesome is that in Virginia? And that's the direction that we need to be stinking taking. Not the direction of Governor Ricketts in Nebraska. I mean, it sounds like he still wears, like, plaid pants with, autumn colors. It's summertime, baby. It's a new dawn, man. You're quoting from the weird, 20 years ago that kind of worked. Everybody was with you. But nobody's with you anymore. And you sound like somebody who doesn't want anybody to come to Nebraska. All right? Be cool, like Terps Candy. All right? They're cool, Governor Ricketts. This hour of programming on KRFF 95.9 LPFM is being underwritten by Terps Candy. Terps Candy will enhance, relieve, and relax with the power of terpenes, and they make a great CBD companion. Terps Candy can be found at 14 Fargo Moorhead locations or online at terpscandy.net. Terps Candy, they enhance, they're relieving, they're relaxing, and they're a good group of dudes. Terps Candy, shout out. Thanks for letting us tell everybody how awesome your candy is. So we are a part of a rhythm nation. Janet Jackson. Okay, so we've gotten to the end of this thing. Canna Talk ND with Wilson on all the socials. Canna Heads is on Sunday on Canna Talk ND. ND for Freedom of Cannabis Facebook page. RadioFreeFargo.org. 95.9. Fifth best radio station in town, depending on who you ask. And we're going to get Toots and Maytal. He's got a new album, Gotta Be Tough, which is kind of ironic now considering he's in a medically induced coma. But I bet you he's glad he got the album recorded. And I'm a sick fool. Here's Freedom Train, Toots and the Maytals. Man, that was fantastic. I didn't cut that off, though. It's not my fault, Matt. Fallen, Teenage Fan Club De La Soul. It's off the Judgment Night music from the motion picture movie 1993. It was kind of They kind of used a grunge band and then kind of like a rap band. And before that was Freedom Train, Toots and the Maytals, Gotta Be Tough, brand new 2020 album. Give out my thoughts to Toots Hibbert and his family, as he's in a medically induced coma, they say from COVID-19. So stay strong, everybody, and I'll be back next Thursday. RadioFreeFargo.org, best radio station in the world. If you want to donate, RadioFreeFargo.org, go there and donate. Canna Talk ND with Wilson. It's out there on YouTube, social stuff. Let's increase our knowledge base. Let's not go backwards with cannabis legalization. We got to go forward. And all the news that I hit you with should tell you that we're definitely moving forward. Don't be like Governor Ricketts. Boo on Nebraska. And like always, here is David Allen, Judgment Day.